guys? It's Marish here, and we are back for episode 5 of Mentors of Script. And today we have our regular panelists. We've got Minday, Vish, Peter, Alice, and Reese. And our topic today is really interesting. Will life go back to normal in 2021? Obviously, we've had a crazy 2020. There's been lockdown after lockdown. We've had the coronavirus to face. Businesses have been affected. Life has been affected. There are some people that believe that things won't ever go back to normal. Some people believe that there'll be very, very minor changes in the foreseeable future. So we'll start with Mr. Vishal. So, Mr. Vishal, obviously, I've known you for a long time and seen you in the industry and obviously get to a high level of success. And I think the one thing that I've noticed about you over many years is you're not a fan favorite of change. From my understanding, I believe that from what I've seen, you don't really like change too much. Well, what do you think? Do you think life will go back to normal in 2021?
I think, firstly, that's a separate topic, and I think that's a myth. That's a myth. I've changed a lot, probably more than other people, and I deal with change fine. It's just in the moment, I like to keep what I have, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. If change comes, I'll deal with it then. But this question is not about what we prefer. It's what we believe is going to happen, and that's got nothing to do with what we prefer. I don't see things changing that much. And when you look around London in all 3 lockdowns, nothing really stopped. I mean, legally, whatever had to be shut down was shut down, but people are still out on the roads. I mean, other than maybe the first month of the first lockdown where roads were a little bit empty, it looked like something out of a movie film. But after that, people out on the roads, people out on the streets, people are congregating. I'm going for walks in some London parks at the moment. I'm seeing police break up chess matches of like 9 uncles who look like they're all over 60 years old, crowded around a 4-seater bench. I'm seeing them also. There was a 3, and Holland Park I was in. It's a posh place, right? So these guys, you would assume that they would know better. Next to the 9-man chess match, there was 3 kind of, middle-aged, middle-class ladies with champagne flutes and a picnic basket. So the attitude, I believe, of the population is they've had enough, isn't it? And they want to have some sort of normality, and to the point where it hasn't really been that much different over the last year for them. They've just tried to proceed as normal. So yeah, I don't see the things being that different. I think if you look at New Zealand as well, New Zealand is corona free. New Zealand, everything's open again. What are the pictures and the videos coming out of New Zealand? Like concerts and stuff, pubs open, people literally all out, going back to normal in crowds, hugging each other in 20,000 people concerts, etc., etc. So I don't see what the big difference will be, because this is not a positive thing that happened. This is something that's more of a hindrance and an annoyance, and people are frustrated with it. So as soon as it's like out the way, then it's almost like, let's carry on as we were. Does it make sense, Marsh?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So you're
have you seen the pictures out of New Zealand?
Sorry?
Have you seen the pictures out of New Zealand?
Yeah, no, I have, yeah. So you're definitely going down the angle of like, you think it's just a temporary period, and then as soon as this period's finished, things are probably going to start reverting back to what was seen as normal before, basically. Yeah,
and that's for 2 reasons. One is because it was something that was thrust upon us that came out of nowhere, and number 2 was it was something that nobody liked. So something that was a surprise that we don't like, we just wait for it to be over, and then we carry on as we were. That's what I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there'll be some minor changes, of course, health-wise. There might be restrictions about how many people can be in a certain place for a certain period of time. But in general, I do see big businesses operating as normal within buildings. I do see, crowds gathering in public places at sporting events, etc., etc. I don't see a big revolution off the back of this.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And Reese, I believe you've got a very, very different stance on this. So I think, from what I gather, you're under the slightly opposite impression that things will never get back to normal. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, normal's a bit of a weird word, isn't it? I think that's the kind of route I'm going down. I know we were kind of having like a pre-chat before this, and it's, you know, it's very, very true. Maybe it's just my way of thinking, and maybe that's just how I am as a person. That thinking, I mean, for me in particular, why the fuck would I want to go back to normal? Normal's not really a cool thing to be, isn't it? It's like being the normal kid in school. You don't want to be the normal kid in school. I was more that normal kid in school, to be fair, in primary school, and that's why I probably thought I went into a different secondary school that no one else went to, so I could, you know, just kind of be this new kid. But I feel like normal was people complaining about everything. You know, there were people complaining about their jobs non-stop, like every single second Facebook post. Maybe that's just the people that I've got on my Facebook, but people are just, you know, moaning about their jobs and moaning about travel and moaning about pay and moaning about holidays and moaning about other people and things like that. And I feel like the way people should go down, you know, this is not me kind of pushing or forcing my opinion on anything, but it's my opinion, is that, you know, people can start to create this new normal, but I feel like they would have to in the way, because what you said, you know, I don't feel like things will be like they were in 2016 or 2017, 18, 19. And I think because of that, which Vish did say, which is very, very true, is that New Zealand, you know, life's mental out there. Like I've got friends that live out there, very, very lucky for them. They were in festivals a couple of weeks ago, you know, clubs are open, things like that. But they've got, well, at that moment, you know, they had 0 cases. So I feel like London's ever going to get to a point, because of the way people may be acting, like Vish was saying, you know, your uncles and aunties having picnics with champagne flutes and playing some chess. I was going to put that out there that, of course, Vish was in a park with people playing chess. You happened to find people playing chess in the whole of that park.
I was on a hunt for Beckham. I'm not going to lie. I can't go for it.
Was it you playing it?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like there will be this kind of going back to normal, because especially just of how things have gone for the last couple of months, I don't feel like it's ever going to go back to some sort of normal. I think people are going to have to kind of adapt to a new world, and people are going to have to adapt to a new way of living. I just feel like that's how.
In regards to the moaning thing, that humans moan. That's it. They'll always moan, and they'll carry on moaning, and there's always something to moan about.
It's very true.
Corona's going to change moaning, and by normal, I'm not talking about average. By normal, I think we're understanding that it's the definition of normal. In this instance is how life was before Corona ever was in our heads.
Okay, cool.
So what do you guys think the biggest change would be then? Like, major change when we come out, let's say, what would actually be the drastic change?
I think people have to adapt a lot more, because I know you were saying that people are gonna, well, again, you know, you see people in the parks and stuff like that, but I've just got a strange feeling that the majority of people are just going to be a bit worried.
I've got the opposite. I think people don't give a shit
about what?
Don't give a shit at all.
Be worried about certain things, like even, I don't know, but things are going to change as well. Remember, like it's not like clubs are going to open up. I think there's going to have to be certain limitations in pubs when they finally reopen, and you know, school won't be the same, and even the way we shop now isn't the same, isn't it? You've got, I don't know about you lot, I've only got one Sainsbury's close to me, and there's a constant queue outside. And do I feel like there's going to be a time near where you won't have to have a 2 meter distance? Because I feel like we'll go back to, as we're saying, some sort of normal, but masks I think are going to be there for years. I think.
But Marish, we're not talking about coming out of lockdown in the weeks after coming out of lockdown, right?
No, I mean, in the future, like even 5 years from now or two years from now, 10 years, do we think it's going to go back to how it was 2 years ago? Do we think that's where that's the direction in which we're pushing it, or do you think it's going to be different? You got to remember, like this. Obviously, last year there were companies that boomed. We obviously saw companies like Amazon and people doing Amazon shopping, and Tesla, like Netflix, Zoom, all these companies boomed. But for the majority of businesses, it was at standstill, or it was massively affected, and they probably had to undergo changes that they potentially could not even, like, maybe not even recover from, or the way, not take away the financial aspect of this, just the general way they operated would be very, very different moving forward. And I don't know, Minde, do you, like, from a business element, do you think there's going to be drastic change in businesses moving forward?
I don't think it's going to be drastic change, but I think in general, this is just kind of my opinion. I think the whole coronavirus kind of thing, if you try to be, my bit kind of a bit more kind of spiritual side, I think it's been time for a bit of a reset, what they say, isn't it? So I think in general, people's been working like really crazy hours before the lockdown kind of thing. And of course, we have to understand that actually artificial intelligence is actually advancing very, very quickly. So there were times, I do remember maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I stopped really shopping in the shops. I used to work six kind of days a week, and Sunday was the only day off I had. And as the day off, then I used to kind of clean up my house and go shopping kind of thing for the week. And I remember, I think, how when I hired a cleaner and I start shopping online, suddenly I have this kind of whole day off kind of thing, and I think that was a big deal. But a lot of people, as you just said, we used to still shop, we used to go out, but now for over a year, most people shopped online kind of thing. And from business perspective right now, a lot of paperwork, which we try to drop from our clients, a lot of clients wouldn't drop paperwork, but right now I can't really see that clients will be sending kind of letters to each other or asking for you to sign on a piece of paper and stuff like that. So I do believe that a lot of jobs, the boring parts of the business, or a lot of boring parts of the jobs, I think they can be done online. I think coronavirus, the whole lockdown, kind of literally forced everybody to kind of move into it much faster. So I really hope that governments will figure out a way somehow to, I suppose, to pay people, or to, I don't know, kind of even kind of the kind of the playing field for everybody. Because I do think in last kind of 12 months, a lot of technology companies, as we mentioned, it took over a huge space kind of thing, a lot of sales, a lot of kind of processing, everything's got kind of done online. So, which basically means a lot of people can actually work from home. Would I believe that everyone's going to work from home and they will never go out? No, I don't think so, because I think people miss each other kind of thing. We want to hang out and we want to be able to hug each other. I really hope I won't have to wear a mask. I hate wearing masks. I'm so privileged that, to a certain degree, that we haven't been like working in the offices for ages now, and I drive a car and I pretty much, don't really shop in the shops. So I barely ever wear a mask, because I never really go public places. I never use public transport kind of thing. But I see people still in the streets wearing masks. And I know that's not even, I see, people with kids with masks on. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's not my kind of judgment kind of thing. I'm nobody to judge. But, geez, if I have to wear a mask kind of traveling somewhere, I'd rather don't go, I don't like the whole idea kind of thing, but I know I have to, and I put it on when I go in the shop. But, very rarely I go in the shop right now. So I do think, like, I agree a bit with Reese that it's going to be a bit more new normal kind of thing, to some degree, that I hope that we will take all the boring stuff from the jobs, like idea of traveling, paperwork, and some people sitting on the laptops in the offices. Hopefully a lot of stuff will be able to be done online. My only issue is kind of economy, of course, will have a bit of shaken, and there's a lot of apps and there's a lot of technology that actually take over people's jobs. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, the biggest issue we do have actually a lot of people losing jobs, not because of even coronavirus, okay? I think is because of actual technology. And it just coincided, actually, this lockdown kind of even pushed technology even faster kind of thing, So I think forgetting about the coronavirus, which I do hope, I do believe it's going to go off, in the end of the day, it's going to become like a flu. We're going to vaccinate and we're going to kind of get on with it. I think the second bit will be, if companies will use technology instead of people kind of thing, what are those people going to do kind of thing? And that will be an issue. But I do hope there's going to be concerts and we'll be hanging with each other. I'm not really sure about, there's all sorts of things coming up right now with vaccination passports and stuff like that. But that my personal opinion, I don't really agree with that, because some vaccines actually, they are valid 60-70% kind of plus. And that means 30-40% can still carry the virus kind of thing. So I think, but I do think there should be some testing places, wherever you go, get 20 minutes, one of my mates now just was ill, 2 days ago, and went to do a test. I got an answer in half an hour kind of thing that he's fine.
Yeah.
Kind of. So I think there will be some stuff in there, but but I think people will be missing definitely. Like when I look from our business perspective, from most businesses, I want to meet people, I want to hang with people, but maybe I want to hang with them outside the business nearly kind of thing. If that makes any sense. I don't want to just travel somewhere to sit down and do some paperwork together. I don't want to kind of spend 2 hours traveling for 1 hour's meeting to sign a paper kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'd rather do this stuff online and I go for 2 hours in a pub and have a chat kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, but I do think it's going to be different, but I do hope it's going to be positive, different kind of thing. I hope that all the bullshit will be taken over by technology, but I do hope there will be some sort of a system that people can still make money, you know what I mean? Because I think it's very dangerous for a lot of people. That the technology can literally take off the jobs kind of thing.
Yeah, so you touched on employment as well, and a lot of people losing jobs, and obviously one of the biggest changes we saw last year was video conferencing. Obviously, apps like Zoom have become so much more regularly used by companies to interact with each other. But the one thing that is quite funny is, if that becomes the new norm, if that becomes the way that people will operate in the future, would that mean that the need for, I don't know, employing someone based here in the UK becomes less relevant? And does that massively affect UK job opportunities, or will people just start recruiting from anywhere in the world? Could that be something that could affect opportunities moving forward in terms of UK jobs? I don't know if anyone's got an opinion on that, or
I think I was going to say just a quick one. Oh, sorry, Reese, I think you was jumping in.
Go on. You got
it's quite funny how with Brexit we're cutting Europe off in a sense that actually we're cutting immigration. But you are right. Actually, a lot of jobs you don't even have to be here right now, so you can still hire people from different countries, kind of thing. Because it seems like a part of very menial, basic jobs, where physically have to go and do. I think a lot of jobs, you're right. You can do it from being wherever you want, kind of thing, isn't it?
100%. I was going to say, even an example is my sister. So my sister was, I believe we all kind of became entrepreneurs to look after our families and stuff like that. And my sister took the plunge, to actually go move abroad, which is not anything. I never had the guts to do that. Doesn't matter how much I kind of dreamt about it. But, she's lived in the Netherlands for a couple of years, and coronavirus is over there too, of course. It's a worldwide pandemic, and she was obviously struggling to find work, and I found myself quite lucky, in the opportunity that we have. And there is these things where people are quite afraid of maybe jobs being taken over and things like that. But where Minda was just saying there, that you can actually go and look outside, like why are we just looking in our hometowns, or why are we just looking in London or Manchester or the UK? So as of starting when we kind of go back to work, my sister's going to be the accredited trainer for my company's client, and she's going to be going forward from Netherlands via Zoom, doing all the training, which to me, I don't know about you lot, this sounds mental. I had no idea what Zoom was, being very honest. Maybe I'm just the naive one here, but I've never heard of Zoom before. And now to think that my sister, can run product training for the clients for my company over the internet in a different country is just mad. I think it's.
I think for our business, Reece, it's a bit mad because we were so face to face. But what you spoke about is not anything. I don't believe it's anything Corona related. I don't think it's anything new. Video conferencing has been around for a while. People getting hired from different countries online has been around for a while. Even call centers, for example, moving to Asian countries and things like that. It's a well-known thing and a joke. But my sister lived in Thailand and worked for a Thai organization, and for the last few years she's been in Paris, still working for that same Thai organization, but doing everything online. That's got nothing related to Corona at all. It's very very common.
A lot more used by a lot of businesses now.
Yeah, so you're saying it might get accelerated. The process might get accelerated because of Corona. Yeah. But I think, as Minde was saying, technology was moving forwards anyway. I don't think Corona has accelerated technology growth. It was going fast anyway, which meant that we were going to that world anyway, where things would be online and technology would take over. We've known that for years and years, and it's. I just don't see, and I know I'm focusing more on England rather than the world or London as a capital of England, but I just don't see empty buildings, regardless of video conferencing, regardless of things being done online at home. Then, of course, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from the social and psychological factors of life, of people actually operating from home all the time, etc., when, you know, going crazy and shit, when they want to kind of maybe meet up and things like that. But yeah, I just don't see empty buildings, and I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from a psychological point of view as well.
Okay,
but yeah,
cool.
The video conferencing thing for me was not a corona-related thing. I think that was always around.
I agree with you as well, to be honest with you. I think there was so much technology that we didn't use that we could use to make everything a little bit more easier and a bit more accessible. And I think now technology and that like Corona thing forced everyone to use it. And a lot of us find, even now in our business, we find, oh my God, this is amazing. It's so much easier. It gives so much time to people. And then it's just that remote work, it could be really, really good as well. Of course, there will be a lot of development, I think, in generating companies, for example, in terms of management and leadership, and people have to get better because they're not in the same place with people. And I think that would be something that would be challenging for a lot of businesses, for example. But I think a lot of people now are going to work very much smarter about their business in terms of finances, because you know, you don't want to get massive hit again because you never know what's going to happen. But I think it was a really good lesson for a lot of people that are either have had business for a long time, or for everyone pretty much, or brand new businesses or entrepreneurs. And on top of that, I think because of that huge hit on huge companies, that gave a little bit more space for solo entrepreneurs to go and put their value, because huge companies would have slowed down a little bit. And then that gave a lot of opportunity to younger people or new companies to actually go out there and do their own thing, I think. And I think it's just getting a little bit more competitive. And all that social media and all that stuff that is going on right now, that it's popping because of Corona, because everyone was home and not working as much or working in a different way. I think these are the biggest changes that will happen. And whenever everything comes back to normal, because I believe that it will come back to normal like in 4, 5, 6 years. It's not like normal in a way that, I mean, I'm sure masks wouldn't be there in 100 years because of Corona from now. But I think when it comes back to normal, we would have learned so much more from that experience, and we would have adapted so much more than we would have if we didn't have that experience, I think.
And I don't know. Sorry.
I know. Sorry, I was going to say just one thing, you know, on what Peter said, that, yeah, it gave opportunities for a lot of solo entrepreneurs to do it because of online stuff. But at the same time, I think that huge companies took a huge kind of takings, you know, from small companies. When you think about it, right, Amazon took over pretty much all retail because most retail was shut, kind of thing, isn't it? So a lot of big companies actually were able to kind of grow very, very fast, okay, because small companies who were actually mostly retail high street actually had to kind of stop operating. And unfortunately, I do believe people will create different habits, isn't it? Because there was something like clothes or shoes or some other stuff, and maybe people would not buy online, you know, because they thought, I'd rather just go to a shop, at least I put my own size or whatever, right? But now you can, you know, after 1 year of doing it online, I think a lot of people might not go back to the same trends, kind of thing.
It's the new normal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I don't know, Alice, if you made big changes or you saw changes happening, maybe outside of business, maybe personally, over 2020, or like from what you were used to then obviously in the circumstances we were in, you were like, okay, cool, I'm just going to do this different, or I'm going to do that different, or I don't know, what are the changes that you sort of had to sort of undergo during that period?
I think I'm no different than everybody else, I guess. But I agree with everything what everybody said, fully. But one thing that definitely, you know, happened to me was like a reset, because I think, and that's why I don't even know how to formulate it. But literally everything what everybody said, I agreed fully, you know, with your point of view. But for example, what Vishal said earlier at the beginning, that, you know, people will go back to normal. He doesn't see how buildings will stay empty. I can see how that happens, and I can see how most people would not, you know, adapt something new, or would not recreate something new for them, because the structure is already there, if you see what I mean. So if the structures in general in most businesses or in society are there, then it's just easy option for most of us, to just go back to what we knew was normal. I think there are also a lot of people like myself who think of things the same as what Mindy also pointed. For example, to make a correlation between all the points, that sometimes we will reset. What our priorities. What was I doing before for years? Could have been done better. And clearly, with technology, we can see now it can be done differently. Is that necessarily better? Is better from some point of view, from a point of view of efficiency, of being a bit more comfortable. From other points of view, of course, there are some other challenges. Let's say if everything moves online, and obviously we do everything remotely. So yeah, obviously personally, yeah, I did change some stuff. Initially, I have to say, last year when the first lockdown came, I was a little bit panicky because I was so in the normal way of just running 24 hours and just just working, building a business, and that was literally everything, because that was what my passion was. I guess sometimes when you're forced to just keep quiet and not do it much, you actually rediscover yourself. And I think what I'm hoping that a lot of people did, rediscover themselves as well, and rediscover maybe their passions, and maybe saw that things can be done a little bit differently as well.
Yeah.
But overall, it's difficult for me to say, would things go back to normal? Like the same as Peter said as well, and Reese as well. Like what is normal? Normal is what we want it to be. I mean, even without coronavirus, let's be honest, things are not the same as the beginning of, the year 2000, in the early 2000s, because of technology, because of loads of things that change, right? And I think humans will have to readapt. I mean, it is what it is, right? And I guess for me it's easier because, like some people in here as well, I am an immigrant, and like Reese's sister, I had to relocate, and whether I like it or not, I had to deal with a lot of changes, from cultural changes, social changes, anything, from every point of view. So, now with coronavirus, is no difference. I'm just doing these changes in the same country where I relocated 12 years ago. Do you see where I'm coming from? So it's and to a certain extent it's been imposed on me, but when you look back logically, there are a lot of positives that came out of it from my point of view. I think, like Rich was mentioning earlier, I really, really hope that we will get rid of all the bad stuff, or most of it, and be able to have the courage to recreate some things. So yeah, that's my point. And also in regards to our own business, obviously I know there are some guys who work in our businesses and in our joint venture in direct sales, and wondering how the near future would be like. I genuinely would love to put into practice a lot of the things that we had to put into practice by default, throughout lockdowns, and throughout the periods in between lockdowns, when our business face to adapt. And I genuinely don't see myself going fully back to what I used to think was normal a year ago. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that. I don't think we should judge anybody for, you're going back to normal or not. It's just a new phase, a new cycle. Businesses go through cycles, life go through cycles, or life, everything goes through a cycle. And I think we're just entering another cycle. And I think it's everybody's choice to acknowledge that cycle. And I think if we don't acknowledge that cycle, the same with these lockdowns, I think that's where the danger is. But maybe I'm just being a bit too spiritual, or I'm not a bit too profound. So that's my stand overall.
I totally agree. I think one thing that you mentioned as well was a lot of people have sort of, look at Vishal with his cats.
Cat looks fed up.
Yeah.
Vishal, man.
One thing that's definitely wrong in this lockdown is the cat has got fed up of Vishal.
It looks like it's like 20 kilos.
Yeah, it looks huge, man.
He's solid.
He's been overfeeding it.
I think we all have that, Irish. I think we all have.
He was fed up of not having my attention. He ran into the room, meowed at me because he wanted a hug, and then he's gone. He's gone now. That's it. But anyway, carry on.
So
one thing, I'm gonna just say one thing on what Ali said about being an immigrant, isn't it? It's of course it's quite sad. Like people can't see each other, isn't it? Like And but that's how we always feel. I do remember how, and Alice was the same situation. Remember how we used to go away for Christmas kind of thing, right? And people like, we have to be back, clients are back, to work on 2nd of January, 3rd of January kind of thing. I was like, I was used to see my parents once a year anyway, over Christmas kind of thing. And this time, I'm so glad I managed somehow, luckily, to fly back, well, actually to drive back, in August, when literally the borders open up. And I came back literally on the kind of first week of September, and the borders kind of closed again 2 weeks later. So at least I've seen my parents this year, But in general, for all majority immigrants kind of thing who come to a country or whatever, I lived in the UK for, I don't know how long now, 15, 16 years, 17 years now. So generally, I see my parents twice a year, sometimes even once a year, what I mean? So I think when, when I talk about coronavirus, people are, oh my God, I haven't seen my, parents for 6 months. I'm like, I'm just used to it, man. Like I only see my parents once a year anyway. So
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I definitely can relate to that. But on what you said as well, and I remember, this thing with adapting and change and being very flexible and being able to be very quick to move and adapt to the new situations. It's something that really, really settled in my head after the first lockdown. Because even, for example, like, I took a holiday as well. It was only, for a week, And on purpose, I looked for countries where I didn't have to quarantine. I didn't have to quarantine when I came back. So I had to be very clever, and, see like, okay, what else? Because I still needed to continue with some other personal stuff, let's say, or I still wanted, something else besides, my main priority, which was, running the business, building the business alongside Minday. So I think, this is how it's going to continue for the near future. Will it be long term in 5 years, 10 years from now? I'm not sure. Might be something different, but I think we shouldn't feel sorry for ourselves that we need to be, flexible like that and catch opportunities, for our personal life or for the business, because it is what it is. And for the people out there who maybe, have to, I don't know, take other decisions and maybe, for 10 years worked in, as a receptionist, let's say somewhere, or I don't know, in hospitality. Well, your life is not just that. You can, readapt and you can use your skills, and that's why I'm very grateful for all the skills we learn in our business. So I hope the guys who are watching us while working in our business appreciate that as well, because you take them with you everywhere. It's a life, these are such transferable skills. So yeah, I think keeping positive and adaptable and flexible is the key. So yeah.
So I have a quick. Was that a beer opening?
No.
I know, enjoy. Enjoy yourself. Just a quick question for everyone. It looks like we all are foreseeing some time, and I think it's quite obvious that where masks won't be a thing anymore, right? But I think we can agree that they will be a thing for a while. How long do you guys think? How long do you think is a while? How long do you think masks are going to be around for before they're not?
Thing that
I don't see any masks in the pictures, but that was like instant. But yeah, how long do you think, guys?
Personally,
transport.
I think personally, I think masks will probably evaporate this year. I think it'll be gone this year. I think by the back end of this year, I think people you got to remember, like I think already, even when I catch an Uber, obviously there's a no mask, no enter policy with Uber. But the other day I just didn't have a mask. The guy didn't ask me anything. It was just like the guy wasn't even wearing a mask. I was like, okay, cool. Like people. Like how serious are people? Sort of maybe people are getting to the point where they're getting fed up of it now.
You were in a normal Uber. You were in a normal Uber, weren't you?
what was that?
When I'm in Uber exec, the mask is on fully straight away. They're checking everything.
No, but my point is obviously people are getting a little bit more lenient with the rules now. It's getting to the point where people go to the supermarket. It's getting rammed. Like when I go to the supermarket, it feels like it's rammed. I feel like people by the end of this year, as soon as people know the rules will start getting relaxed. I think the biggest reason people wear it is because they're told they need to wear it. As soon as the option gets given to them that you don't have to wear it, yeah, I think everyone will just jump on that bandwagon.
That's a very good point. Like, how many people out there are wearing masks only because they have to, because it's compulsory? How many are actually wearing it because they're trying to protect their health, which means that the first group will obviously drop masks as soon as they're able to drop masks. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think higher up your mask goes, if anyone else has seen that, you've got people that wear their masks here, people that wear their masks there, and people that use them as a chin strap. I think the chin straps they'll be the first ones off it. These
I mean,
people
they're
there.
They just do it for the fashion, man.
I generally think that there is no one thing. You know, have you not noticed in general, this is not me being philosophical, but how everything right now, in last what I noticed like a year or so, everything's like 50-50. It's like flipping American election, isn't it? It's either you with us or against us, isn't it? And I have some of my friends, actually, one amazing guy, actually, I loved him to bits, you know. He was my Kung Fu kind of sensei, right? You know, Reese, I nearly said F off Reese, you know, so guys typing up how fast I should drink a beer. But anyways, this guy was actually the highest ranked Wing Chun, you know, guy in Europe, and he was 19 years of age. He studied business, and now he's in Spain. He has his own Wing Chun, you know, school in Spain, and he still has in UK. And I don't know how old is he. He's definitely less than 30, probably about 25, 26, I would say, maybe coming to 30, right? And he's very loud, you know, like literally with nearly all conspiracy stuff, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you know, going on there. I mean, I don't really, I won't say I'm against conspiracies. At the same time, I'm not the conspiracy guy. I don't necessarily, I would definitely don't shout. I don't necessarily believe that I know Bill Gates trying to kind of kill the planet kind of thing or something like that, right? I think generally the truth is somewhere in the middle kind of thing, but I don't think that people are capable of finding a middle anymore. Like people who don't wear masks, I have friends, okay, like that, you know, that literally do not wear masks, and they have even fake stuff saying I'm exempt, whatever. I'm like, I think that's a bit harsh kind of thing, but I get it. You know, that's their opinion and everyone has the right, you know, to do so. At the same time, I have people who literally, as I said before, they put masks for little children when they're walking in a park, which from my point, that's excessive, but I get them too. The point is, though, that you just kind of have to let everyone be, but I don't even know if we're going to drop those masks or not. I think it's just going to be half of the people will be really pissed off on the other half that want to drop it kind of thing. Does it make sense? It's the same as vaccines and not vaccines. People who want to vaccinate, they shout that if you don't vaccinate, you're going to kill us all. The ones who don't want to vaccinate, they're literally going to commit suicide, but they won't take a vaccine kind of thing. It's just been so many, I don't know. I think just people not capable of listening to another point of view kind of thing, isn't it? Right? It's just this blaming thing, right? You know what I mean? That's, you know, and there's been so many of those things, you know, recently, and again, like Black Lives Matter, which is actually, you know, again, I won't put my opinion onto it. Okay, I think there's very, very good points from it, and some people don't like some points in it. But it's either you're with us or against us. If you take a knee, you're with us. If you don't, you obviously must be racist. And it doesn't mean no one wants to know why people don't take a knee, because some of them might have some different things, you know what I mean? And the ones who don't take a knee, oh yeah, I don't disagree with this because it's not like, and it's just always this constant fight all the time. And it looks like as if you have to take my truth, and if you don't take my truth, you're my enemy kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I think my opinion on that will be that with the masks, stuff like that, I guarantee you there will be some people probably wearing masks like a year after you don't even have to wear them anymore, because that's how, I suppose, insecure they are. And that's how some of them even believe that masks protect them, which obviously they don't, you know, and it's been told loads of times, the idea of masks is to protect other people, you know. But yeah, that's just my point, you know, that I don't think there will be one answer to it. I think everything is like always two sides, isn't it? And people are constantly fighting, you know what I mean? You know, that's what I see lately, you know what I mean? That no matter what happens, what was I think Toyosi mentioned that the red pill, isn't it? That was a really interesting documentary in there, talks about the feminist movement, whatever, and men's rights in it. And again, how they kind of make them nearly fight each other, even if they're not really fighting kind of thing, right? It's just like, it looks like media is trying to create a fight from anything. Man versus woman. It's like women are enemy, men are that, you know, fight, you know what I mean? Masks, no masks, fight, you know, vaccine, not vaccine, fight. Self-employment, employment, fight. Everyone's in a constant fight mode kind of thing, you know what I mean? And there's only one truth, you know what I mean, till somebody wins. But no one's ever going to win that way. I don't think so. You know, that's a bit philosophical drift on.
Yeah. I was about to say, maybe people have knee problems. That's why they can't. Sorry, that's a late joke, but yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good one
It's
there.
like we've got questions from thing, innit? You know, I don't know.
Question from a couple of guys. Ikra is asking, what's the first place you visit after lockdown?
So I'll say that straight away. I've had this entire coronavirus period has had two trips to Dubai cancelled for me. So one in April the 4th, where I was going to go to Dubai for a week, and then obviously lockdown happened like a week just before that. and then another in December the 19th or 18th, where we got put into tier 4 the day before I was meant to depart. And obviously that means that you're not allowed to fly or do any international traveling.
And weren't you actually meant to book that ticket on the Saturday and something made you change your mind to Sunday?
Yeah. So I was meant to book it on the Saturday. And then for some reason I thought, you know what? Saturday, let me just chill out for a day and just pack my bags and take my time with it, and I'll go on Sunday. And then I decided to book it on. I decided to book it on Sunday, and then Boris Johnson decided to do a surprise speech on Saturday and say that as of midnight today, we're in tier 4 and there's no international traveling for anyone in tier 4. And so I was 8 hours too late, 8 hours out of the time zone that I could travel. So 2 trips to Dubai cancelled. So where am I going to go as soon as I'm allowed to go after lockdown? Dubai.
Maybe there was a reason for that, Mariusz. Maybe universe was trying to stop you from going to Dubai twice.
We didn't always.
Because make the 3rd time so awesome.
That's some Final Fantasy shit. Have you seen the film Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Final
what you
Sorry,
said
Final
about
Destination.
Yeah.
But for me, it's simple. It's just Pizza Express. I miss that.
I'm going to office. I'm going to work. I can't wait. Actually, I'm itching.
Yeah, whatever meal is with the guys, I just want to see the people kind of in the company.
Yeah. I wanna see
Actually, you know what I'm looking for? Maybe not the first trip, but I'm looking forward for the first kind of meeting when we all come together. Whatever it is, whenever we're allowed to, when you can open the pubs, of course, and I think it's still going to be like you're allowed like with 5 people, 6 people, but the moment when we can put like, 200-300 people together and we can get everybody in and get some sort of hotel, that'll be awesome, I think. That's what I'm actually looking forward. And the first director's trip on a boat somewhere. We're going to go off on a boat for like a week or 2 weeks.
Me and Mary are going to Dubai first and then come and join you guys.
Alice, where are you going to go?
I mean, the first thing after the lockdown. I don't know.
Yeah. What would you do that you can't do now?
First 6 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, definitely back home. Yeah, definitely. I want to see my family.
I don't think in terms of holiday. I think she just meant where you're going to go.
I don't know what she's asking. That's why.
Yeah, where you going to go?
I don't feel restricted now. You see, that's the funny thing. I don't feel very restricted now. So I think I'm not that desperate for anything overall.
Do you know what I really miss? And it may be really cheesy. The cinema.
Maybe cinema, I guess.
I can't wait to go back to the cinema. And James Bond was cancelled, which I'm still really pissed off about. That will come back out and either say
it's October now, isn't it?
Let's just go Cineworld. Get some popcorn ready.
I would love to go to a concert or something, I think I would love to be in a crowd of people again, or some sort of festival. If it's summer, I have to go with my kids because we used to go every summer. Like it's so many. And I missed all those festivals actually. I just realized now, I'm like, wow, we haven't been even camping with our super tent, and
it's just made me realize that all those times, I think Vish mentioned it last time, and I doubt Vish has changed his mind from this, but all those times where maybe on a Saturday night, I used to get those random texts going, oh, mate, do you want to come out to this place? I'm like, I can't be bothered, man. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to?
Yeah.
Is that text where they go, 11 p.m., I'm in my PJ, they go, do you fancy coming out? And just like Superman, with the outfit.
Absolutely.
Out the door, somewhere, I don't care where it is.
Don't say a word to your girlfriend, just walk out.
But
can I clarify that the people who are still not sending me those Saturday texts, if you could carry on not sending me Saturday texts, thank you.
No,
the group.
You know what I'm looking forward?
I don't want to say no.
Because some of you guys had these ideas, some of you guys was looking to pick up some cars and stuff like that soon. I would love to have just owners drive to south of France or something. That would be so sick. Especially sounds really bad, but after Brexit, I mean, this is probably wrong to say. European countries don't really share information, isn't it now? So I think that would be pretty cool to go with some fast cars in south of France.
Nikro, what would you do? Where would you go? Put it in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because you can't get points now, I think, in France or whatever, So if you just cross the channel from London, then we can mess around nicely without causing any troubles.
In
I
fact,
love that. I love
in fact, anyone listening, actually, yeah, pop your answer in the chat down below. I'll put your answer in comments. Would like to hear where people would want to go. Right, we've got another question from Amin. What do you think we can do post-lockdown to take advantage of the situation to grow and build faster? Reece, do you want to take lead on this? Or
Yeah, I'll take lead on this. I think something that we kind of had privilege of doing before, excuse me, is kind of just what we're talking about now, is just being able to go out and take every opportunity to do every single activity possible you can. I think that's one thing I kind of strived in, and one thing I was, quite naturally good at was, well, actually, I wasn't naturally good at it. It's just something that I just really enjoyed doing. The countless things that my company can speak about. There's crazy things that we used to do, guys. Remember, there was like clay pigeon shooting, ice skating, there was bowling, snooker nights, there's poker nights, there's nights around my house. There was just, I think there's any opportunity to get everyone together outside of business working hours, where it doesn't just have to be focused on what am I going to do today to go and sell, what am I going to do today to become a better leader, or what am I going to do today to become better in the role that I'm currently in. I just think people just taking the opportunity and taking the bull by the horns, just any opportunity that you can take, if there is somewhere open, like go grab your guys, go for Nando's together, go do some bowling, go do some ice skating, go to the cinema, go do things like that. I think people don't realize the power of unity and camaraderie and doing things together. And I think that's one thing that maybe lockdown has made us lacking from no fault of our own. But I think the second things go open back up, just go mental. Just go mental. Just try to fill yourself up with free time, just doing stuff for the people that you love and the guys that are in the business, and just go have some countless ends of fun together. I think that's something that would really help.
Yeah,
I think you should do whatever you want to do. Do whatever makes you happy. Whatever you're going to enjoy. I think people just
football. Yeah, football.
Like we've all been in lockdown. We've been in lockdown for a long time. We've been in lockdown most of the year, and I think coming out of it now and assuming that this is going to be the last lockdown that we're going to be in, then just enjoy it. Just enjoy your life for the next month. And again, like I know the question is targeted at how to grow and build faster and build your business quicker. But I think when you do them, do things that you enjoy around with guys that you're trying to grow the business with or whatever, it creates, like Reece was saying, that camaraderie factor, which will make a big difference. Try not to overthink it. I think just do whatever makes you happy. Sorry, Peter, you were going to say something.
Oh yeah, I was, as Reece was saying something, like we begin in the same way. I kind of knew what he was going to say, go out, have fun and all that stuff, and I was actually going to say exactly what he says before he actually says it, because I knew that's going to be one of the things. Am I off? There you go. So yeah, like he was the same. Like it's kind of both. You do what you like with the guys in your team that you like doing it, and also just focus on really giving that leadership and care of the guys that you have or in your team, or like just give a lot of care, give a lot of love. Like when you miss somebody, go back to him, let that happen, and then like work. I generally itch right now to go back. So all I'm going to be probably doing is going in, setting the pace, after work, going for beers, whatever, hang out with one or two people, the whole team, whatever. Like I'll be just whatever. I'll be soaking all that freedom.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of your advice is basically that advice could work before Corona as well. So and I fully agree with that. But just to give one kind of more specific after lockdown, after Corona advice for you, Amin, is there'll be new times for sure. Even though I was arguing that everything's going to be the same, but I think given time, everything will be the same. Initially, it will be new times. New times will create new challenges, and new challenges will require new solutions. So to answer that fastest part, not just to build, but to do it fastest, you want to really be in solution finding mode and be ready to kind of solve any problems and find solutions quicker than I suppose people around you. But of course, everything that worked before still applies, and that's what these guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I can see in the chat you and Amin are gonna pay your first visit to the casino, though.
Me and Amin have a long overdue poker night in the casino that's been planned for more than a year. So yes, me and Amin will be there.
You must have saved a bit of money not having to lose it every week in the casino. No.
All right. Let me. Can I answer this one first, Mike, after you read it out, and then
guys, can I just add on to the last one? Just one thing. What I actually want to ask you as well when we talked before about whether it's going to be things will be different or the same. As Amin asked, what should we focus on? Do you think now, when we're coming out after a year kind of thing of people communicating online, do you think that there's going to be different trends of what people expect kind of thing? Because one of my answers would be like for me, what would be different, I think, is learning as well how to use technology. And because what I am kind of in my mind thinking that maybe, how we got used to kind of dealing with people face to face all the time, that some of the bits people might not be used to. It's a bit like when we tried to do online recruitment a year ago or so. We found that people found quite hard to kind of fill online application forms or to do kind of Skype. Whereas right now, I think if you was to tell somebody, hey, do you want to pop in for 10-minute chat kind of thing across London? I think a lot of people might think, well, I really have to travel like an hour and a half, pay like a tenner on the tube just to come for 10-15 minutes chat kind of thing. So I think to a certain degree, what I'm really excited about our business is that actually this technology allows us to actually train people. A lot of basic boring stuff can be done online, product trainings, everything can be done online, right? Which basically means we can have teams anywhere, like anywhere in the country kind of thing, right? So I would say, which was a huge, comfort zone of mine. And one of the reasons why we're doing even this podcast is to come out of comfort zone and start doing stuff online and start doing videos and start doing different stuff. So I would suggest for people, that's just my suggestion kind of thing, to embrace that a lot of stuff what we're going to do. If you want to grow really extremely fast, I would suggest to get good at kind of online stuff and videos and stuff like that, because that will allow you to train more people faster. And I think that the benefit is that, of course, there will be a reset economically. So there will be tougher times, which allows us to grow, I suppose, faster in general, right? Because when the times are tougher, there's more people who want to work in sales. There's more people who want to kind of, go and make more money kind of thing, and actually own a business or be self-employed or be flexible and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of advantages that we can offer over kind of a normal job kind of thing, right? And I think, my advice would be try to embrace, the change as well, because I think even though some of us might like to go back to exactly how it was 12 months ago, I think general public would not expect it anymore kind of thing, if that makes any sense. I know that was a bit of a question from me to you guys. What do you think? Do you think people will become a bit more lazy kind of thing? Do you think people will be like, because I remember even before when we recruited kind of thing, sometimes people wouldn't come for an interview and they wouldn't tell because they couldn't be bothered or whatever, right? But I think now, do you think people's kind of work ethic and dropped, or what do you guys think? Or do you think people expect something different now than a year ago from a job or from working environment or whatever that would be?
I disagree with him, because I think our recruitment kind of pool is usually 18 to 30-year-olds, and it's those people who are, I suppose, currently now, let's say 14 to 18, that we're going to recruit very, very soon, right? And these guys have been on online school for about a year, and all we've heard about that, all I've heard about that is how bad it's been, how negative it's been, how annoying it's been, and how they hate it, and schools didn't even shut in the second lockdown. That's how much it was not liked, and now schools will reopen first. So these are the guys that, yes, they're doing shit online, but that kind of stuff they don't want to do online. And I don't think there'll be, although I don't want to do it personally, I'm not saying I want to interview or do appointments face to face. I'm happy to move with the times, the technology. I don't see it actually being a problem for that. But of course, like as you said before with the previous answer, everything is 50-50 in the middle. Nothing is like, etc. But I don't see it being too much of a problem.
I agree.
Got a lot of feedback from teenagers where I have from my family, even in Lithuania, how they hate being on computer all day long and doing homework from computer as well. So yeah, no, I'm just thinking,
Especially at that
I think it's what's funny about that is I think now, and again going back to Amin's question, like what I guess one thing, if you were really, you got to remember a lot of people will assess how good someone is based on their coaching skills or their training skills, but in the new age that we're about to go through, a lot of people are going to assess how good someone is based on their coaching skills and training skills over an online platform. So I think getting used to the idea of speaking online, speaking over platforms like Zoom or whatever, and being able to coach someone through that platform in an attractive, educational way, then I think that's a massive skill. So that's probably something worth trying to get good at. So we've got another question from Eleonora. Do you think opening new cities will be challenging due to the potential long-term travel restrictions, or else?
No, there will be no national restrictions, and even then, if you're moving different to travel,
you're moving no way. You're moving there anyway. So.
Yeah, due to the technology, I think you can start recruiting and doing initial trainings without even being there. I think
what you said earlier about that whole thing about getting good at doing things online. I think the better people are at performing well over Zoom and doing things like this, I think the more opportunity you'd have to go to any kind of city you want. You know, there's even talks like we were talking about doing remotely working, like the fact that now you can just go open up a city. I mean, just to pick Birmingham for some reason. I don't know why I picked Birmingham, but Birmingham, you don't even have to be there.
Yeah.
So restrictions wouldn't even have to matter, to be fair, if there was. But I agree with Vish. I don't think there'll be any national restrictions whatsoever.
You could come in there in a few days, isn't it?
Even for meeting up to fill in paperwork or like sign contracts, like there's literally an online app or a method to be able to do everything through an online platform.
Yep.
Which here's a funny thing. It actually makes you think that people that run or have businesses or companies or any form of gathering where there are people in different cities, will there be like a big sort of city socially divide where people don't actually go city to city anymore, don't actually see people in other cities, don't interact with people in another company from another city, and just seclude themselves to the area that they live in? Is that something that's most likely going to happen in the near future? I don't know.
Hard to tell, but I think technology, we're looking at, I think our business costs can come down like nearly 80-90% nearly kind of thing. Well, probably about 80% nearly. So I think, yeah, and technically geographical boundaries are expanding instantly, isn't it? So I think in general, it's going to be much faster and I think much bigger business when we come back, 100%. You know, and I think it's just important to think big right now. And for the people who actually are building sales teams and stuff like that, I would say I was lucky enough to actually open my office in, well, sort of 2008 in the end in November. So 2009 when I kind of started breaking even, 2010 when I made the actual money, you know, and it was straight after big recession kind of thing, which allowed me to kind of, you know, invest in properties and stuff like that. I think it's next kind of 6 to 12 months will be crucial to a lot of people, you know, because the money you'll make in next 6, 12, 18 months kind of thing will be really, really crucial, because it's going to take after Brexit, after coronavirus, it's going to take for economy, you know, year, 2 years to bounce back properly, at least kind of thing, right? You know what I mean? So if you are the one that actually are growing and making money whilst everyone else is recovering, you know, your money is kind of worth like 2-3 times kind of thing, if that makes any sense. So if you can actually, you know, build very successful teams in, let's say, 2020, you can purchase and invest in 2021 when majority of people are just recovering, you know. So yeah, I think next kind of 2, 3, 4 years are crucial to everyone's kind of business, if that makes sense, you know, like finances, you know. Cool. And I think the opportunity next 2 years is way bigger than it was like 2, 3 years ago, you know. So I think people who actually look at negatives, they can see negatives, but if you look at positives, next 12, 18 months can be completely life-changing financially, you know.
Oh, wicked. Right. So again, we want to hear from everyone. We want to hear from anyone that's watched this. We want to hear what your opinion is. Please put your comments down below. Do you think that we will go back to normal in 2021 or post 2021? Do we think it'll ever go back to normal? We want to hear what you guys got to say. Thank you guys for obviously sharing your feedback and stuff. And thank you guys for joining us today. And we look forward to speaking to everyone next week. Cool. Wicked. I'll see everyone later.
See you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, guys.